I've watched every Yellowstone show and Walker is, by far the best character, but his return marked a frustrating series trend. Yellowstone became a massive success when it first premiered in 2018 and has since gone on to become the top series for Paramount, with Yellowstone blossoming into a franchise with multiple spin-offs. These include two prequel series, 1883 and 1923, as well as the upcoming show The Madison, and even more to come. Created by Taylor Sheridan and John Linson, as well as being written by Sheridan, Yellowstone stars Kevin Costner as John Dutton, the widowed patriarch of the family and owner of Yellowstone Dutton Ranch, and explores the family struggling to defend their home from a reservation and land developers. Yellowstone's cast of characters is one of the show's biggest strengths, as they are typically a diverse group of people in terms of values and personalities. Taylor Sheridan has done an excellent job at giving most of them a lot of depth and complexity, which makes the situations they find themselves in all the more engaging, and one standout in particular is Walker. Walker is a musician and former convict who is hired by Rip Wheeler to work as a ranch hand for Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. With an amazing performance from Bingham, Walker is Yellowstone's best character. Walker was the best character during his early time on the show. When Walker was first introduced in Yellowstone, he was released from prison and took up Rip Wheeler's offer to work as a ranch hand at Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. Being that Walker was a convict, he is given the Yellowstone brand, which happens when criminals are granted loyalty and family in exchange for a lifetime of service at the ranch. The Duttons and the rest of the workers at Yellowstone Dutton Ranch typically engage in illegal activities, violence, blackmail, and even murder to protect the ranch, but Walker is opposed to all of that, choosing to keep his hands clean. Of course, the ranch hands know a lot of the secrets and illegal activities the Duttons partake in, so if any of them ever decide to leave Yellowstone Dutton Ranch, they are killed to protect the family and the land. What makes Walker the best character early on is his values compared to the Duttons, who he morally opposes for what they do and wants no part of it, especially given his criminal history. Walker tells Rip that no one warned him that taking the brand would mean breaking the law, so he eventually decides to leave the ranch early in season 2. Upon quitting, Case Dutton drives him out of state to a train station to presumably kill him. Instead, Case lets Walker live, warning him to never set foot in Montana again, or he would be dead. It was a sad ending for Walker in Montana, and the eventual start of an entirely new beginning that would change Walker and Yellowstone Dutton Ranch in the process. The show lost something when Walker returned and changed his ways. Despite being told not to step foot in Montana again, Rip Wheeler and Lloyd discover Walker singing at a bar. He explained that his return was out of necessity to get in touch with his parole officer. Soon after, Rip strong-armed Walker into returning to work at Yellowstone Dutton Ranch, and he decided to obey. But this time his perspective seemed to shift, and he was not nearly as bothered by the ranch's practices during his second stint with them. It can be interpreted that Walker's compliance is merely for his survival, but his less antagonistic approach to the activities of the ranch weakens his character a bit, which is a shame given how great Walker was during his early time on the show. It even gets to the point where Walker chooses to remove Wade's brand in a brutal way to save his own, which then leads to Wade getting hung. Walker started out morally opposed to what was going on, only to eventually become complicit in it. Yellowstone is part of a frustrating trend. Walker eventually kowtowing to the rules of the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch is just another instance of a frustrating trend with Yellowstone as a series. Not every character in the show is okay with the ranch's practices, with some even opposing them altogether, much like Walker, but most of them ultimately stop resisting. Of course, that can be seen as the overwhelming influence that Yellowstone Dutton Ranch has on people, but it doesn't make it less vexing. This is easily seen in the character arcs for Summer Higgins, played by Piper Perabo, and Monica Dutton, who is played by Kelsey Aspill. Summer is initially introduced in Yellowstone as a passionate environmental activist defined by her resilient beliefs. After meeting John Dutton and starting a romantic relationship with him, she slowly loses that side of her, ultimately being a bystander as the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch continues its violence and illegal activities, and Summer Higgins really deserved better by the end. Monica Dutton is a Native American teacher-turned-professor who is married to John Dutton's son, Case. After suffering a head injury and going through physical therapy in season 1, Monica starts to view the Dutton life as dangerous and a major threat to her and her son, Tate. Despite these feelings, she stays with Case, with Monica experiencing a variety of near-death moments during the show. However, she prioritizes family over everything else even when she understands that it is not right. In a lot of ways, it feels like Monica is only around to suffer, which is a shame. What Ryan Bingham has said about Walker's moral dilemma. Walker is a complex character in Yellowstone who is really easy to root for in the beginning, only to be frustrating throughout his second stint with the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. In a lot of ways, Walker began to toe the line between hero or villain, and in an interview with Taste of Country in 2022, Ryan Bingham talked about his character when asked if he would choose one or the other eventually. Of course, Walker never fully becomes a villain, even if he does become more complicit with the Duttons and how the ranch operates. His full answer states, where Ryan Bingham has been since Yellowstone ended. While Ryan Bingham does a remarkable job in Yellowstone, he was actually a musician before he was an actor, and long before the role of Walker. In fact, his song, The Weary, for the film Crazy Horse earned Bingham a ton of accolades, including an Academy Award for Best Original Song. Following the end of Yellowstone in December 2024, Bingham is getting ready to tour alongside the Texas Gentle beginning April 6, 2025, known as the All Night Long Tour. He also released a Live at Red Rocks album right before Yellowstone ended. In terms of upcoming movie or television roles for Bingham, there appears to be none on the horizon. It makes sense, though, as he is first and foremost a musician who also happens to be a fantastic actor. In his personal life, Yellowstone also brought Bingham love, as he married his TV partner, Laramie actress Hassie Harrison, in 2023. It's possible that Bingham could return to the role of Walker at some point in the Yellowstone franchise, especially if Taylor Sheridan and Paramount continue to come back to that world for a while. Hopefully he'll come back, given that Walker is arguably the best character in Yellowstone.